Okay, we'll probably be wrestling the sun here pretty quick, but I keep getting up way later because I wake up at like 5:30. What is it now? 6:03. The other day was 5:55 when I started, but I'm waking up at like a 5:30. I get up and do all the stuff, however long Stella wanted to eat this morning, which was unusual. Lately, she's been refusing to eat in the morning and only wants to eat in the evening, but she's out of her morning treats. She likes these little kebab things, and I run out because we had company dogs and we go and trout, so all of her good stuff is gone because she shares. She shares. And then, man, this morning is fucking weird. The whole fucking last night's fucking weird. Like, every day just gets weirder and weirder, I swear to God. If I didn't understand life on the level I do, I would be lost. Because it's just fucking weird, man. It's so weird. And it's weird in a way that you don't know how to explain. Because it's weird as like your connection to it. It's like, it's weird. I don't know. It's weird. In dreams and all of it, it is like, I don't know. It's like your consciousness becoming aware of itself. I don't know what else to say. It's so trippy because it just gets weirder and weirder. Like, as you're going through the steps, through the healing and stuff, because I don't think you can get to that point. It's like you can't reach bliss without climbing the hill, you know. You got to do the work, but as you do it, you know, you'll just become less connected. It's like, I swear to God, there's so much about how I see the 3D is the trap, is the mind trap. It is what, and this one in particular, like, we don't know all of them because we can't remember every single thing yet. And it probably doesn't fucking matter. I mean, it's something that just keeps coming and coming and coming to me lately. Like, I don't know, a few times a day. Well, it's been ever since I was a kid. It's been a huge thing that they have really tried to grind into my brain. And lately, especially, it has been so much. But this is an experiment. Like, we got it as not, like, you play your role. Like, you do what you do. Like, but we're past that part. Like, we're past that part, you know, where we play the game blindly. And then we get to this part of this awakening part. But it is, I know a big, huge thing of it is about the unity, which it's going to happen. Not for everybody, but the unity consciousness is going to happen for enough people that it makes the change and goes into, you know, the whole next steps to go into the age of Aquarius. Is not that every single person, you know, and it's weird too, like with like new spiritual people. Like, it'd be cool to talk to like some older ones. I would even fucking like to talk to Bashar, I think his name is. I'm sure you've seen him. He's kind of like a block kind of build or something. He's like, looks sturdy, and he's like got a shaved head, and he always has a stern face. And anytime I've seen a clip of him or whatever, but yesterday the clip I saw was somebody asked him about gay people. And it was the same, you know, I think a lot of people who are spiritual, you know, understand about gay people. It's like, it's not even something you would question. It is an experience. It is, your soul has no gender, and the gender is a part of the experience. And an experiencer, like, there's no, it absolutely makes sense to have any kind of confusion. And some come into play those parts to break stereotypes and stuff. Like, there's so much going on, but, you know, it's not like the religion gets people all jacked up, because then they start telling them those people are committing a sin and doing this and doing that. It's like, that's where you got to go deeper. You got to go into your spirit more. You got to understand about a spirit, don't understand it through in doctrine, you know. That is the failure of the soul to need that, because your soul tell you, right? So, and if there's interference, that is those attachments, but they feed off of your ego and your biases. So it always goes back to you. It always goes back to you having to do your work. It's not like these demons possess you and turn you in. No, it is you have things inside you. You don't see it. I keep seeing black across here because I have, it could be there. So that's what I'm going to explain. It is big. I feel like I'm battling the parasites right now. Motherfuckers. And they all get me really sick feeling in the morning. And sometimes just itchiness and stuff. And it's just like, okay. So I did a charcoal this morning. It's like, yeah, I'll feed you bitches. And so in charcoal is so fucking messy, so messy. And so I put it in a capsule, and then I was holding it in my mouth right here to walk over to my water. And then, of course, I dropped it. I am so, like, lately, it's got to be a part of the change from my avatar. I've become, like, better fingers. Like, I have no control. I'm just like, ugh. So I'm just dropping shit, falling. God, I'm getting hurt. It's like so weird. And it trips me out so much about the injury shit, is like, about this hologram thing. It's like, we're fucking hologram, but we can still go through this whole thing of getting injured. And, you know, I feel so fortunate of the injury not being more severe, you know, like, you know, really could have hurt my leg more, you know, just go back a little bit further. I don't know. Maybe it could have chipped a bone or I don't know. Maybe it could have broke my foot if it went a little further out. I don't know. But whatever, I feel like a cut is pretty minimal. And the whole thing of like not really feeling it. Like I keep feeling like nerve things and stuff, but I swear to God, I feel like I'm a robot or something. But that goes into this whole thing of us realizing that we're not the body. The body is just, it's an illusion. It's not real. It is trippy how we can have these effects and stuff. But that is how complex, convoluted, that's out of Dolores Cannon, but that came and but it is like a convoluted reality, you know, like, because we can go and have an experience, like we can go and get cut, and there's even stuff in there, and there's even doctors who can go in and look and discover there's stuff in there. And so, but it is weird now how, you know, it's changing, where they're saying where the kidneys are, where the fucking heart is, and stuff like that is changing. So that's the same thing as like all of a sudden the sun and the moon aren't in the right place, you know. It is, it's still, there's a fate, because none of this is real. And this is like the part where it's like showing us it's not real. That's one thing too, is like so many people don't get like it, that everything keeps trying to show you, but they're all just caught up in what it's showing them instead of just seeing. Like I had said, the stuff was just going to get more and more absurd to just get people's attention. And it just gets more and more absurd, but the people just say, I mean, it gets people's attention some, but how serious people take it. Like, no, I mean, there are some people who I've seen who are like, okay, this has just reached a level of ridiculous. You guys, this isn't real. This is just ridiculous. And that is what it's supposed to be doing. But then once you get to that point, you also have got to start going further, you know, like, because there's the whole thing of your spiritual life of, you can live your spiritual life without this other thing. This other thing is what binds you and mind traps you and holds you back. And so it's like you need to move out of that thing. Like I talked about a long time ago, like, but some of the people are like barnacles on a ship. They want to it's like they don't know how to exist. It's like their consciousness becomes parasitic. It is like, and the host is the fake matrix reality, or whatever you want to call it, which is really a game, a hologram kind of game thing that souls create to experience so that they can see themselves. I think it's not just to see themselves, to watch themselves play stuff out, but it is also because, I mean, and also like they create avatars, like they look like you create your avatar, even though people don't think they do. People, and I was one of them, you know, who sat there, oh my God, I hate my nose. Oh my God, I hate my, and just sat there and picked myself apart. And I feel like that shows when you are picking yourself apart and just downing yourself all the time. I feel like it shows in your face. I feel like it shows in pain, and it shows in struggle and doubt, and you know, like you've got so many muscles in your face. And so every expression from within is showing, even when you're not trying to show it. And so, and that you're reflecting how you feel on the inside. And so everybody has the light inside of them to shine, and you know, their beauty just radiates. But it's one's self-doubt, it's one's own feeling and insecurities that reflect out. And the insecurities come from the 3D binding of your mind to, you know, the perfect girl, the perfect guy, and all that kind of stuff, you know. So then you start feeling like you're not good enough. But like I had talked about a long time ago, like you are representing your features and stuff, are representing your DNA, you at your core. It is in your connection to your ancestry and stuff. So, you know, you should be proud of everything that you represent, but we get caught up in thinking it's not good enough. Maybe our nose is a little too big. You know, mine was always like super pointy. And so it was like, you know, it's too pointy. Well, it's a style of nose back to some other group of people, you know, before it became this giant stew pot. And when it was more of condensed tribes. You know, another thing that's interesting too, this guy showed this map. Like, so many people get into these maps. I love seeing the map ones. But this map was like from 1500 something, like 1506 or something. And it didn't have Australia yet, because Australia was discovered, I guess, in like 1604 or something. So it was before it was discovered. But what it had on this map was the ice ring going around us, but it wasn't ice. It was islands. And they had animals on them, alligator, camels, just like, you know, Saudi Arabia or something, or the Middle East. So it was very, like, what they were showing on there, you know, didn't seem like what you think of, like the Caribbean or something. It seemed more like Middle Eastern, on, you know, with camels and stuff. But things were different. Like, we got to remember, like, climate, like this, what is frozen solid ice for us, it was, that is what I think is going to be a part of this scene. Like, that is going to open up for us. And I don't think it's going to be us going across the ice wall. I think that is going to be something part of in the solar, you got to remember too, the sun's not really a fireball. It's a plasma energy. And so this energy flash that's going to knock out all their circuitry, that's going to take us back to like the dark ages, except for we have a group that is prepared. And so we're not really going back to the dark ages. It's going to be like a temporary situation to let go of what was and move us into what will be. And that's why we have these other beings involved and stuff, because it's going to be like more sophisticated technology. We're not going to go back to like the Stone Age, but the people have to get back to that way of thinking for themselves and not being dependent on the system. So that it has a significance why it's happening the way it's happening, so that people like as you awaken, it moves you more into that independence, like I don't need a job. I could do this, or I could do, and figuring out who you are. And so it's super important because there's so many people right now who are so dependent on the system, like grown ass women who don't know how to cook and think that's a good thing. Like there's, it is just crazy too, is how many of these women have gotten so in ego. Back in the day, like you had to have a dowry. Here, take my sister, take my child or whatever, I'll pay you. I've taught her well. She will do work for you. And, you had to be a part. You had to work. You couldn't just go and be dependent. And it was like a guarantee. Like, don't worry, she'll pull her weight. She'll do her part. Get her in there. You'll see. And then, Jesus, stole that. And then as she's barking that way. I don't know what the hell she's barking at. And so now, I mean, and then back in the day, the women still took like their skills seriously. Like I thought it was significant when I went to that archaeological museum in Vancouver, and all of these, these words. Okay, the indigenous, the tribes. I love to call them the tribes, the original people, the tribes. So back when they lived more like tribes, they weren't taken and put on reservations and whatnot and controlled. They were a lot more about their skills and basket weaving and all that stuff. And that is the kind of stuff for them has also been going away. Like, and that is such a shame, That is something like when I was a kid, like, I mean, when we would go to, my mom and her sisters were real artsy, you go to those kind of things and see like baskets, like women sat there and wove. When you also travel to other countries, and you see what the skills that some of these women would pass up through time, and, that they could do these things and make money doing them. And then it got lost. And it is, and they're trying to bring it back. So there's all video about it and trying to get the kids to relearn it and stuff. But you see that also in this developed, their white society that they're trying to create. They're trying to whitewash, control, and, really give everybody opportunity to see how damn shallow they are. And that's what I think. So you get an opportunity to see how shallow you are and to see how easily you can be pulled towards the dark, As a soul has light and dark in it. It's not like a soul is just light and a soul is just dark. Well, the ones that are just dark, those are the ones that I call like attachments, because that's how I see them. They're just like like sludge or something. They're just like these energy. Like that one guy, Stephen Garrett, whatever, the guy with the video UFO thing going around, he said they're just like stupid. Like, and that's how I see it, is like, they're not intelligent. They're not demons, that are outsmarting you. No, they are like a worm, like a parasite. And they attach to you, and then they just want to stay alive. But they attach to you through you. It's like you send out this feeling, and that pulls it. Everything is like magnetic. Like, everything is, that's how they've shown me. And some of the stuff, they've shown me through my own journey stuff. And it's trippy. Like, I'll talk more about that, There's always points where it's just like you go through periods of just doubt, like, man, maybe I am just crazy. But then a whole bunch of stuff. So it's a roller coaster. But once I get to the other side of it, and when things have reference and they make sense, I can tell more about, like, the steps of, because there's like steps through how they show you and teach you things. And it is such a difference when you're distracted with the 3D and you're not doing your steps. You're not tuned into what's real. And so, and the soul has the light and the dark. It has that, the lost boys off Pinocchio side of themselves. We all do. Like, when I was young, I was very much like, oh my gosh, like, I'm in this body, I'm here, I'm alive, let's go. I want every experience, I want to feel it all, I want to do it all. Like, I was very much like that. And, it was like I always had an awareness that I wasn't my body. I've talked about this for a long time. And, just, growing up and seeing, 2020 just really, really showed me. Like, I had no idea how people were. Like, I didn't know that the way that people were living. I thought everybody had, this strong guidance. I thought everybody knew, like, it's weird. It's so weird. That has been really something for me to put together, because there was so many conversations that I would even have with people. Like, seriously, like, you have a soul. Like, you're just saying you don't think you do, but like, you seriously, like, it has always tripped me out. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Certain things I don't understand, but it really gave me a fuller picture, because then you can't, it was like, there's all these people around me that I thought were living through their spirit, but they were living in, as a handicap. They weren't really connected to their spirit. So they were living life in a handicap kind of way. And so that has been, but it's hard to watch now, because the disconnect and how people are just in, the end of the rope, falling apart. I just saw this one video. I've barely seen any, and I watched a couple this morning to see, like, if anything's going on. And it seems that that there's a huge distraction that they're pushing, that everybody was talking about. Oh yeah, the girl disappearing on the freeway, and a whole thing. And so then people start being, okay, now it's over the top. Now it's like, okay, there's about 100,000 other missing Black girls. Like, why are we only talking about this one? And why so much? And why everybody? And so then when people start looking, what else is going on? What else is going on? So Kamala, out doing a speech, said, they keep having these slip-ups, but they're on purpose. It's not like a slip-up. It is a purpose thing. These are people in masks. But so she said, reduce the population, as we reduce the population and move towards electric cars and all this shit. So, is that a cover? They're just constantly doing distractions inside, get people all, it's that wag the dog, however you say it. That's what they're doing. They're just like controlling the social construct by their creation of dramas and traumas, and they know how to direct it, and they know how to create division. I mean, the absurdity right now is like, some of these trans men have got to be MK Ultra. You cannot be this, mentally have this much of a deficit. Like, something's got to be going on. Like, when you're sitting here thinking, like, you can start breastfeeding babies, like, there's milk ducts. It's not an implant. When women are born, what is behind their nipples is milk ducts. Like, what in the holy hell with these people? They think, like, you can just take hormones and then stick a piece of rubber back there and it's going to produce milk. Like, and then you're going to let a baby suckle on your gross ass nipple that was probably all hairy, a few months back. Like, what in the hell? And then you got this guy out there who's just aching to get a uterus and a fucking ovaries and shit, because he just needs to have a fetus in there, because he just has to get the feeling of what it feels like to rip one out. It's like our society has gone fucking ultra mad. It's like, it's mental. It's like, it's hard to even want to, stomach listening to this nonsense. It's disgusting. Like, I should just turn that shit off. It's like, this shit just pissed me off. And then you see people on there and they just get all worked up and, you know, all these people. Like, I've seen that duetted guy who wants to have the, you know, fetal tear down. He has been duetted so many times. I've seen his nasty ass face so many times. And just his attitude, see, it shows. What's inside shows. Most people, what it shows is sadness, self-doubt, depression, you know, and it's all, you know, nobody should feel bad about that. Like, I mean, if you didn't have that, you would probably be an antisocial psychopath. You know, I mean, you were indoctrinated and programmed to be the way you are. So now it's up to you to recognize, you know, that's the awakening. It's for you to recognize who you've become. And are you happy with that? Is that where you want to be? Is that who you want to be? Or do you want to be something different and someone different? And to me, you know, the goals, because of where we're headed, and it's imprinted into me, and I've got to talk about it, it has to do with the forgiveness. You can't forgive people without healing. Like, there's something that is like off to me on this spiritual like group of people. Like, to keep thinking if you are doing healing, that means that you are saying you're broken, and no soul is broken. So that would be like admitting or looking for something to be wrong with you when there's nothing wrong with you. You're a perfect eternal being. So, you know, everybody's on their own level, is all I can say. You know, and I know what I'm here to talk about. And to me, it's the path to enlightenment. You know, if you're a soul who's happy with who you are and you feel good about yourself, then, you know, you do you. This is your life. This is your opportunity to be alive and exist, you know. And it's your, you know, repercussions once you go to the other side. And you know, it's like leaving the room and going in and then going over, you know, you gotta look back and see. And, you know, I think personally, our souls want us to connect to them. But I'm sure there's lives that your soul wants you to do it on your own. They want to see, like, how far in the dark will you go and stuff, without them sitting there telling you. Like, I've had strong guidance. I've had them telling me ever since, you know, I can remember back. So there's always, every time I go and remember back to the time when I was 3, there's a time when I was younger, and it was an incident as well. And I think and every time I say that, they always flash me back to this. So I feel like I was talking to them then. I feel like there was a conversation. I can't remember it like the one, like, I don't remember everything they told me, but I remembered the overall thing from when I was 3. But this one that they always flash me back to, and I'm in my crib, and I am, there was a pill bottle. My mom, you gotta remember, my mom was a child. Like, it took me a long time to really come to this realization. My mom wasn't trying to ruin me. She was a child. So she left the brand new Bear aspirin, the baby ones. Like, if you remember those little bitches, they were like candy. They were little pink and they tasted super good. And so I ate them, and I had to go get my stomach pumped. But I remember, I feel certain they were talking to me. I feel certain, like, through every little thing, that they were talking to me. And they probably told me, you're not going to like the outcome of this one, sister. You eat those, you're not going to like it. And so they're always in there telling you. But, you know, I mean, especially when you're like 1 or 3 years old, you're not listening, like, on the level. Like, they tell me stuff now, I sit down. Let's talk about it. You know, tell me more, tell me more. You know, back then, I was like, it was impulse. That's the difference of what I'm talking about in the awakening, is your soul. Like, a soul who is impulse or just reactive. That is lower chakra. That is not developed soul. But some souls, like, they want to develop. They're happy where they are. So, if you're in that category, don't feel shame, like, oh, well, I don't want to change. And then tell me something wrong with me and I have to grow. I have to change. You don't have to do anything, and it's up to you. But don't think that everything is like, end game is right here. This is not the end game. You will go in and you will face why you make your decisions, why you look at things the way you look at them, because it's all, to me, about growth. Like, it's expansion. Like, does the universe just sit and go, I'm satisfied, let's just stay here, we're not going anywhere? I don't know. I think it's all about expansion. I mean, how long could you just sit and not use your energy, not do a thing? Could you just sit and sit and sit and be still? So anyways, it's all how you look at things. I look at energy as wanting to expand and grow. And conscious energy, which we call a soul, is the same motivation. And when you're not even, the restriction that we feel through this life cycle is extreme compared to our abilities. And so, part of it to me is learning our abilities, which is a disconnect from the avatar, which gives these really weird experiences that are trippy, where you feel like you're, like where you have to have a handle on your existence. Yeah, I think that's where people are like losing it and ending up, going to the hospital and saying, please, somebody put me on some drugs or something. I'm losing my damn mind. But you're not losing your mind. It is that this wasn't real. And it is like you have to realize what you are, who you are. And to me, it is, 100%. It's about this game. But there's more to it. It's not just a game. It's not like, what are we going to do this weekend? Let's just play a game. No, it's a very complex, thought out, like grid system, matrixy. Like, it's super cool. Like, it's so far beyond just being born as flesh and blood by accident. And, it's so far beyond. And it's not just some guy in the sky who's over us. We're part of it all. We are all a part of it. We are all creators. And so this period of time, to me, is this awakening, is that so all the souls that can get themselves there to awaken, because it's very different to live your life as an awakened soul in this arena over living as one that is veiled. Because when you're veiled, there's a purpose, there's a reason. So you're just focused on that. Because, you've got watchers, you've got people who are watching and learning. You aren't separate from that. You are part of that. You are like it's like we're in a dream. It's like we are a shadow of, we're an imprint. It is, it's so cool. It's so fascinating. It's so fascinating how we can it's like giving life to a picture, I think it's really cool. But, the point to me of it, because that's like imprinted onto me about the path to enlightenment, is about going deeper into yourself. Like, the demons that people fear are inside of them. That is what gives the attachments something to anchor into, is your darkness inside of you. And so that energy holds on, but it's you who feeds it. And it's you who creates the persona in some cases, that it's a demon and stuff. So much of the energy is playful. When they're knocking stuff down, it isn't, just watch videos of people playing with their pets. Like, that should just give you a little insight right there. Like, I've seen people playing with their pets where I was like, why in the hell would you do that? I saw somebody the other day, it was a big giant ass lion. It was laying out like by a pond, and it was like had its face like in the water licking or something, and this guy's sneaking up on it, and he jumps down, like scared or whatever, and it seemed to really irritate the lion. It didn't make it react and eat his head off or anything like that. It irritated him. And it was just like, why do people just, I mean, I sometimes will go up and just shake Stella, but I've seen some people who do same things that are just seem so mean and so cruel. Like if somebody just came up and did that to me, I get irritated. It used to irritate the fuck out of me when we were kids. Like anybody who had a bunch of brothers or had a big family, I am sure had been scared about a zillion times. That fucking game, that's some bullshit, Or the hold you down and tickle you game. That one's bullshit. So those games are bullshit. But they're definitely ones that, have played on you. I swear to God, I don't even think it was that long ago where I still had people waiting around the corner to scare me. You don't have to do shit to scare me. All you got to do is walk up and talk. I'm usually in some sort of trance, and you're going to jolt me out of it and scare the shit out of me every time. Like, you don't have to jump out and scare me when I'm walking. It's just, if I'm by myself, just walk up and talk to me. You will scare me. You'll scare the shit out of me. Every time. It happens so many times. And, but anyways, to me, so my place and my soul, this period of time, definitely through the awakening, especially, my awakening all had to do with healing. Like I was living blindly until I started, and I had a spiritual background, and I was still living blindly. I was caught up in all of the BS and stuff, and it had to be taken away from me little by little. Like the brain injury, like that was a whole thing. Like there was periods of time where I thought I was still in the hospital. I thought I died. It was a very, very trippy thing to go through. And no concept of time. It was, it was very, very, anybody who has gotten any brain injury, like, I say I have compassion because it is, in your brain. I mean, people have a hard enough time trying to keep a grip on reality when their brain's fully functioning. So you can imagine when things get injured in there, and it was very hard. And so, I go through all of those kinds of parts. And then I had to get to the part of appreciating it. And what got me to appreciate it was somebody else's value of it and time. And so then getting, like a new lease on life and having an appreciation for what I had instead of whining about what I lost. And it changed, my attitude. And then, it was all about healing. And then that's when the spiritual shit just went off. Like it was nonstop. When I got off of the pharmaceuticals too. And that when I used the weed, which I just think it's so strange. Even when people like the devil's lettuce. It's like, why are you saying something negative about it? It's a God-given plant to help you heal. I'm like, fuck, it's a fucking miracle plant. Should be in everybody's damn yard. I think it probably was back in the day. These people who don't want you to have it is, but anyways, then everybody start being like, oh, you're just high and stuff. It's like, no, I'm not. There's people talking. I would go, it was really fun too, because when I was around my daughters and stuff and their friends, and I'd be in these big powwows and sitting and smoking and stuff. It was really fun. I loved that period of time. And it was like this whole discovery of myself, this part of me that was, well, I would never do that. That's against the law. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I got a Superman. I'm so silly. So anyways, but that was really a cool experience to get to go through. Was sitting in Smoky Bow. I would always be like, do you hear, like, when you smoke, like, what do you start thinking about? What do you start hearing? Who's talking to you? And people will be like, what do you mean? I'd be like, well, don't you start hearing the other beings, like the spirits talking? And they'd be like, no. So everybody got, like, everybody's consciousness goes to different places. Like, to me, it was just like opening up the airwaves, and it was crazy. And so there started being all sorts of beings coming and talking to me, and I could see them. There were so many different ones, and I think he probably still comes around or something. But there's one, and he was like an old tribe man, and he was like the kind who did his share of drinking out in front of a little market. And he was just such a crack up, and he would come in and tell me, and he would always come, like I would be taking a shower, and it was like he would always come in laughing and having a good time. But he would always start telling me the most profound things. I'd be like, man, you cannot ever go, don't just walk past somebody who you think, oh, that old drunk doesn't know shit. Bullshit. They know some shit. And probably drunk because they can't fucking handle it. Like I said, know too much shit. So listen to them. Talk to them. Talk to everybody. I think that is going to be a part of this changing when things flip, that it is going to be people who, how people look at me like, oh, tattooed lady, she's old, probably just this old prostitute, probably old stripper, probably does a lot of drugs. They just look at you like all their biases of what they think. They can't possibly think that you could be smart, or that you just like tattoos, or whatever the motivation. Everybody's got their own. Like, there's tons and tons of people with lots, but it's very separated. It's not like, I mean, if you got every single one of them in this town, I'd probably be like a handful. And I'm thinking of Bellingham too. I'm not just thinking of Maple Falls. Like, that would hardly be any, as it's really, really small. But if you were in Bellingham, which is a lot of young, trendy, progressive people. Oh my Lord, hold on. Come on, hurry up. So I'm doing something. I just gotta try and get past these feet on this thing go take up so much room. That's why Stella can walk past them and hit it. And so, anyways, I bet you most of the ones would all be people who did tattoos, like me. It was people, tattoo artists. But a lot of them, or people who were married to a tattoo artist or something like that. And then a lot of other people would just have some, because they're so expensive. Most people can't afford to put that much money into themselves. The people who have them are usually people who didn't have to pay, or somebody who has a ton of money and, goes and pays, probably goes around to Japan and gets the top artist or something. But most of the people who have a ton are people who either are close to a tattoo artist or are a tattoo artist. So, it's not like millions and millions. I mean, we're still like an odd bunch. People stare all the time. It's funny because, where was I? Oh yeah, when I was just on my trip, my ex was there. So he took us all out to dinner and stuff, and he came over and did yard work with the girls. And so, we visited, and, we took the dogs on a long walk. Oh yeah, because Stella, it was so fucking hot there. She just laid down. She's like, fuck this, I'm not going any further. And I was seeing it when I used to see that on Facebook when I was on, the Mastiff things. That's what I was on Facebook. I would be following these Mastiff pages, and I would see those kinds of things, but she did that. But anyways, when we were walking, he was saying something about becoming older and becoming invisible. And I said, well, that has never happened to me. I doubt it ever will. I think I become more visible. The older I get, the more people stare. I was like, did you see that one over there? Like I said, I felt like, fuck, if I wanted to just make money, I could just go down to New Orleans, just work the street, just giving people an opportunity to take a picture with me for $5, and I'd be doing fine every day. There's so many people down there who, some of them come up with like costumes and stuff, and then get people, and probably in Vegas too, probably in fucking Hollywood too, in New York. Like, you just go if you're just, want to market your oddness, and you can make money just letting people, travelers, take pictures with you. Somehow you become a part of it's wherever you want to become a part of that. Like, if I was going to become a part of that whole institution of like, well, if you go to New Orleans, you got to look for her. You got to get a picture with her. You become a part of the thing, whatever it would be called. But definitely mine would be New Orleans. The bummer to me is like New Orleans is going to cease to exist. I had such a strong soul thing with that place. So that area, I think it is more, probably is that gypsy life, because that's what comes into my head. Because that is where that one psychic lady told me, I get these flashes and stuff, but that strong feeling I had when I was down there, like I cried when I had to leave there. I've always had a strong pull to there. Like, we have strong pulls to places. It's in our heart. It's inside. It's something inside of us. A past life that, maybe like this one, the gypsy one, I think, the reason it is a part of my reality at all is because I had to go full circle at this time on some of that stuff. And like I talked about before, there's a lot of cycles that are closing. It's going full cycle, full circle. And so everything has got to play out on the soul's journey. So for your soul, for different things, it's like closing chapters. And so that's why I think there was so much of abuse of me as a younger woman. And so I feel like that was a part of just the going full circle, so I could experience and see, that side of it. Everything is so you can see all sides of it, because the more sides you can see of something, the more it expands your here we think of it as consciousness, but it expands you as a being. And so, that to me is like this whole purpose about incarnating and expanding and growing and learning and all of that stuff. Like, there's a purpose to it. So, what was I going to say? Because that, oh yeah, because in that life, it was something down there, because I was some sort of a jewel, what was it? Not a jewel thief, but I think that's what got me killed. I think I stole some. I like went from down there in that area, or down by Florida, and then went over to those other islands in the Caribbean, like, and I was something of value, I think jewels or something. But I was, because I was really pretty, I used men all the time. So I fucked a lot of different people over. But it got me killed. And it's so crazy too, is like how when people go in and they do these kinds of things, like if you even watch the Lifetime one, so many of us, we've all lived these lives. Like, this is really weird. Like I feel like I'm like glitching right now. This is weird. Some of the things with this energy is tripping me out. Like, I feel like I'm fading in and out. Like, this is weird. God, this is weird. But so okay, so the gypsy, okay. Yeah. So like the one on Lifetime, hers was a circus. And she was the same thing. She was a pretty circus worker, and she fucked a lot of people over. And when she was going back and looking at that life, she was saying how much she enjoyed it. Like, she just enjoyed the freedom of not caring. There's purpose, there's things, there's reasons, but, everything has to go back into balance. So even, going and screwing people over, you still go back in and go back into this balance. That's going in the full circle. Everything has to be completed. Like, you can't leave unfinished business. There's a balancing, which people call karma, but there's always a balancing. And people also get caught up in thinking like there's bad people and good people. Like, I was watching this docu-series on Hulu right now, and it is this guy. He's very, very handsome, very good-looking guy. But this is a thing that will happen to people who, very good-looking people like that can find that people will worship them over their looks. So then they can start using their looks to get what they want, and depending on what they want. Like, this guy decided, he wanted to notch up his belt or something, or notch his headboard or whatever, even though he shared it with his wife. But so, and the younger got younger and younger, and the guy just went off on crazy town sex addiction or something. But just became like antisocial, just like not really care about how other people feel. And so while I was watching, I was like, oh, a lot of people come in and live those lives. Like, that's what we're seeing here. These are different soul scenarios that are always playing out. We all get caught up in it, like they do a docu-series. We can all go in and judge this guy, and he's the worst. He's horrible. We hate him. And it's like, we've all played him. We've all been him. And so this is a part of getting into this point of like, so it was like an opportunity to envision for us to get to see. You can learn a lot by seeing how others are affected by things. So it's a learning opportunity. It isn't a time for us all to judge and run on and like, well, we're good people. That person, he's a bad one. Okay, we got the good ones, we got the bad ones. No, it's time for us to start realizing that there's good and bad in all of us. And we are always trying to find our own balance. But it all has to do with this awareness, this period of time. That is this period of time where we are becoming more advanced. So we can do more, we can look at more, we can see more, we can understand more, we can control more. We're not the victim to the world. We're not a victim to life. We are an empowered, intelligent being that is learning, and it's in this cumbersome suit that has a lot of feeling and stuff, but it also is a suit that we can begin to understand we can control. We can control how it looks. We can control its healing. What's weird too is like it was tripping me out yesterday because this thing is healing so fast. But the tape was getting, all gunky and stuff. So, and it was coming off. So I took off the lower part. I don't know, it could have been a really deep part. I guess when it goes down, it would really gouge in on that part. So I was probably, a really deep part, probably all the parts. And there is a big scab on this one part. And nothing was coming. I did feel like it was like a little pulling. Like last night, I did go put a big piece of tape across just to kind of hold the skin because I felt like it kind of, I don't think it would separate. I think it's sealed enough. It wouldn't separate. And I'm not messing with the scabs because they're probably deeper. But I've been putting, I did the peroxide. And then I've also been just doing castor oil a bunch of times. And I swear to God, it's almost healed. And I did a couple of videos on TikTok to show it. They won't let it. They've got fucking community guidelines. One of them they put under sensitive contact. One, they won't let it go on at all. I peeled them all. I mean, it's a damn cut on my foot. And they're telling me it's against community guidelines. And then making it sensitive contact on the other one. And it's, it's just a fucking injury that I'm trying to show. But even when, I'm trying to show, this cut and what, you can do. The thing is people have also got to think for themselves. You can't just automatically, well, I'm going to do this because it worked for them. You have to tune into your own body. Like there could have been some broken thing or something. That would be your experience that you're supposed to go through. Like if that would have broke, it would have been my experience. Thank God it wasn't. I don't know what I would have done, You know, would I have gone into the urgent care? It definitely crossed my mind just when I saw my leg lay open. I was like, fuck, I need stitches, man. And I was like, but the Starship Enterprise took action. Like, you don't need stitches. That's a long drive. Let's go. We can do this. Like, get in there. Let's wash it. They start telling me, it's always, that's funny because it is, like I could be doing something really hard. This light, especially, I was so frustrated. I was like an hour and a half in and I'm in tears. And I'm like, and then I think it is sometimes that they'll just be sitting there and then they'll go, well, did you want some help? It's like, motherfucker, yes, I always want some help. Well, did you remember to ask for help? So there's always that kind of thing. And then, you ask for help and then shit starts going, somehow they'll just stay there. Somehow this will just work. Like, so always ask for help. I'm telling you, no, but there is like that little game. Like sometimes like I'll be frustrated as fuck, but it's that remember to ask. But then on that, it was like, just jump in and start, get in there, wash your leg, get over there. Okay. You got that medical. It was like a lot of commanding going on, and it wasn't like a serious thing, but it really did help me because I don't know, like I think anytime that we look at our skin laid open bleeding and stuff, that kind of is like you go into shock or something. You go like it just grosses you out. It's people faint over it and stuff. So the commanding did keep me a lot more just like focused on get the job done. And it was, but there was a part of me because when it was start to open up and it just kept opening like a fillet, just opening more and more. It was like, oh, it was so sick. But now, geez, let me see if I can get my foot up there. Oh, they wouldn't take it down for that. But I don't know if you can see, but oh my gosh. It is, it's crazy. There's like a few scabs. It looks like just like a little scrape. And then this would be the 4th day. And I know on my other foot, when I did get all those stitches, it was, I think, 7 to 10 days before, I think it was like around 7 or 8 when I took the stitches out. But yeah, I think maybe 10. I don't know. But anyways, not going and getting stitches, not going and getting the lidocaine, I think is why it's healing so fast. And then plus, I do a lot of stuff to take care of myself. Like, I think that's another thing. If you have a poor immune system, you're going to see it. Because you're not going to heal very well. A little thing is not going to heal very well. So then is just an opportunity. Your body's showing you, I got to do more. I got to figure out like, why am I not healing very well? So it's like your body is showing you, it's giving you opportunities to see. That's why you got to read your own body. And, you got to, a cut can go a lot of different ways when it goes way up your leg, goes down like that. It has those little skinny bones on your feet and right next to the tibia and fibula. I used to know all these bones and stuff, but the little skinny bone, like it can hit and, break it. It all depends on your own bone stuff. But that is also an opportunity for you to see. Like you need to take better care of yourself, better care of your health. Like to me, I feel good. Like, oh man, my bones must not be just all like dusty or something. They can hit that big heavy thing and it feels like a bruise. It feels like, like I got kicked in the shin or something, but it doesn't feel like any kind of bone injury or something. And you don't have a lot of tissue up there on top of that bone. Like it's very bony. And so, if you get hurt, you got to listen to your body and see, because maybe you do need help, and maybe it is something you're going to cross paths with somebody. Like every single thing in your life is planned down to the exact second. Like every single interaction, you were supposed to have that interaction. And it really changes life when you start being aware of that. in the part you're participating in and what you're here to do. But, so back to the whole thing about enlightenment, to me, is this period of time, this ascension in which it is written, is, this big evolution in the, when you understand about the ages and the cycles and stuff, and about frequency, and about like the other beings, or, they're just spirits, like, like us. And so all of those things, when you start putting them all together, you start realizing that these big changes have to occur. This period of time is our bridge. It is our opportunity to release, like, go with the baggage, so we can cross into this opportunity of bliss, of, heaven on earth, where we don't have the same challenges, but there's going to be new opportunities for growth, which I think are going to be about adventure. And, there still will be things to learn. There's always things to learn, and I guess one of the problems, too, in the cycles is when we go into these, like, what is the Kali Yuga or whatever, when we go into this period of time that becomes really super spiritual, people get way too caught up in the spiritual part, and they forget to live their lives. And so that, to me, is about the balance. That is about us having that, realization, enjoy the marijuana. Get out there and enjoy what is life about? It's about the adventure. It's about the experience, You think Bigfoot's coming in and going like, well, I'm not going to eat that plant. Somebody might call me a devil. No. It is, we are beings here to experience what this place has to offer. What is it like? What is the whole experience? And so it isn't just like to connect to your spirit. You connect to your spirit because it changes how you approach life, how you see things. But you don't want to be too much in your spirit, so you forget to enjoy life. So that has been a part of the cycles, but we are coming into this time, to me, that is very, we're leaving the Piscean age, going into this period of time where it isn't light or dark, it isn't good or bad. We're coming into the realization that it is our balance that we find. And I think we're going to go into a really balanced time as people begin to understand. But you got to let go of your judgment on others as being good or bad. Because the more you realize what you are, the more you can understand what others are, and not judge others, and then understand all the different experiences. Like that guy having that experience to come in and just screw over all these people. We've all been that. We've all been that rotten. We've all killed people. We've all done things that you think are outrageous. And the reason why you think they're outrageous is because you've done them. You learned. You learned about it. And, it may not be this guy's first soul thing to learn. You also come in and play the part so that everybody has these experiences so that they can grow, go full circle. There's a lot of things going on. And that's why, we don't want to get too caught up in everybody else's stories, because everybody has got their own completions, their own things acting out. And it is more productive to focus on your own. So, my stomach, I feel so nauseous too. I swear to God, they fucking do something. Even when I was just driving, I could just feel like something changes in the atmosphere or something. I swear to God, it's like if we are in that one map, if we are sinking down, maybe it's going to be like this burp of this explosion. Is energy. I don't fucking know. I just wish it would hurry up and go. Hurry up and happen. Even if it is the part where it's going to just take out all the power. We got to go back to the dark ages for a while. But fucking let's do it. It's going to be temporary. I'm just so ready for change, man. But anyway, so the path to enlightenment is, it's a self-approaching path. It is you discovering you. And that is why I am always, it's super important to not just go through somebody else. And it's funny, because here I am out here, as a content creator, you become dependent on that, like to the point where you got people who are an ego who, steal other people's content because they've got nothing else going on. So they need to talk about something because they got to keep up their image. It's like they've lost sight of what's going on. And so to me, I have to go approach it with the sight of understanding that nobody should get too attached to seeing through somebody else's eyes. You've got to, it's important to always see through your own. And that's why I'm hoping always that I'm bringing it back to you to keep going through your sight, because it is, it would be I'd be putting so much out of balance for myself to try and get people to depend on my sight, to depend on my view, because everybody has their own unique views. They've just hidden them because they didn't feel like they were accepted. And I think that is one reason why so many people, like on TikTok and stuff, like, oh, I totally relate to you, because that's inside of them, but that has been hidden. And I just say stuff that a lot of people want to say, but they hide it. They don't want to say it because they want to offend somebody. They don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or whatever. And I've gotten to this point of knowing that sometimes you got to have your feelings hurt. That helps you grow. Sometimes you got to hear things you don't want to hear. It has been beneficial to me throughout my life. And so I don't want to hide my truth because it may offend somebody, because sometimes people need to be offended so that they can look at themselves and see, why did I just get offended by that? What would be offending me? So it's an opportunity for people to grow or see themselves more fully. So you don't want to hide your views of things because you think it may hurt someone's feelings, but you've got to also, I think one of the things is people aren't healed when they also can be mean about their opinions. And so they go into it kind of as an aggressor in order to make their point, instead of, it's being, hey, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Doesn't matter to me. But yeah, I think it's perverted for men to sit there and let babies suck on their nipples. Like, there's no milk in there. And, a baby doesn't know that, but you do. You would think. So you would make appropriate choices. Otherwise, you are using, that's what people don't get. This using, like, there's way more bigger about the traffic in the harvest. It's way more big than what has been reduced to in 3D. It's a big spiritual thing. You're taking life and you are like consuming it on these other levels. Like, like I've said, there's going to be big changes in how people parent, very big. People just don't realize, like, there's so much spiritual stuff that people don't realize. And so there's going to be big changes over, seeing things. But I also think that we're, going to go in, there could be some people who are going to go real super spiritual and, go into their holier than thou, episode. But, that's their, that's their growth, that's their opportunity. Maybe they'll go back, they'll die, and they'll be like, look at that life, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I could have been experiencing the planet. I could have been experiencing connection through different things, plants, meditate, whatever the things. And, but that they chose not to connect, and then they missed an opportunity. So I don't know. I think it's important to appreciate life and what it has to offer, and to recognize the temporariness of it, because that's a part of the whole thing. And so, but on the path to enlightenment is about learning that appreciation, learning the appreciation of life and how temporary everything is, and how the real value that it holds. And so as you're going through, and the darkness that is inside of you, that in most cases has been fueled from this experience, that darkness has to be released. Like, and it's not like you've done something wrong or bad. It is just the programming and the indoctrination through the experience. So it's like where these people get caught up in like, well, there's nothing broke about me, so a soul doesn't need to heal because it's never broken. I don't know. That's just like a different philosophy that to me is like, I don't know. It seems premature or primitive, or like it's not going deep enough. Like to just be satisfied, to just be like dormant, to just I surrender. I've done enough. I'm good enough. I'm better than that. I'm good. I don't know. I'm always, thriving to expand, to learn, to grow, to understand, So it's these different philosophies, which to me is like this different color of the aura, this different organ that we come from, this different philosophy, if that is from the 13 original souls or whatever. But that is also this thing where we all have to come together. Like, I can't sit there and tell these people, no, you're wrong. You have to do it this way. No, I'm going to be like, okay, well, that's an approach. That's an approach to life. You can take that approach. And, and it probably is just a slower transition, or slower, wouldn't be transgression. That would be going the other, slower kind of movement, expansion, because it's going to happen naturally. It's not like you have to. But to me, this time is giving an opportunity that is necessary. To me, that's all I can see. Like, I know a lot of people see a lot of different things, but that's what I see, is all this opportunity to awaken, to see, and there's a purpose, because we're moving into a new age that is a different frequency. You can't be a higher frequency if you're low frequency. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to dial it in. You have to tune. And while you're tuning, you're going to start hearing, those demons in there speaking to you. And so you got to understand that that's not something wrong. It's not something you've done wrong. That dark energy has festered, and you've got to go in and figure it out so you can release it and let it go. It's not like you can let go of all dark energy. I mean, you have the yin and the yang, but if yours is, out of balance, you're going to feel it. And most people's is out of balance. And so it's them to get it back in balance. It's up to the individual, the being, to manage themselves. So to me is, to become aware of yourself, of why you do what you do, how you do it, why you do it, where you do it, like just becoming aware of yourself so that you can, question yourself. Because through the questioning, you're going to see yourself more clearly. And when things come up, you go deeper into it, you release it. And you heal it, I mean, there can be emotions that'll come up. You can sit and cry for 2 days. You can sit and laugh hysterically. Anything can come up. And just the releasing, because of all the stuff that people hold on to. And so, the releasing, and there's going to be stuff with past lives, because you are a soul. You have you're not just this life. And so you have those things that'll come up, and they're going to come up in ways that you may not understand. That's a development as well, to develop your translation through your communication with the other side, with your guides, with your higher self. All of that is also, an expansion of self. That is you becoming more connected to yourself. And so that is also growing. And so, going through those is what I have seen for myself. It wasn't like I have to sit there and come up with, well, what am I going to learn today? What am I going to do about it today? That happens naturally. And it all happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen. And it's all about the timing. Like, you're going to learn this. But if you wouldn't have learned this 2 months from now, you wouldn't understand this. So it's like everything that you're learning, there's a purpose. So don't get caught up and think like, especially like if you're just awakening and you feel like, well, I'm way behind. All these people, they are already doing this. They're already doing that. Don't do that. That is the worst thing you can do for yourself. You're just prolonging your ego, your distractions. It doesn't matter. And you could be going through yours and have a huge jump past where those people are. So don't get caught up in looking ahead. Well, all those people, they're way ahead of me. How am I ever going to catch up? Trust your soul. Trust yourself to know that there's a reason of why and how and the whole purpose to your awakening. And there's a system, there's a path that you are a part of. So you need to stay focused on yours and, what you need to work on. You don't have to, well, now I'm going to be spiritual. So first off, I better become vegan and focus your energy on that. No, that will happen naturally. It's not something that you need to go force. It will happen as you go through at whatever point in your process. And it can happen in a bunch of different ways. It can happen all of a sudden you just, you meet an animal and all of a sudden it just hits you, a deer crosses your path. And all of a sudden you just see, this just happened. I heard this story. It was a guy who was going to his family's place and they had a lot of acreage and they had a bunch of deers. So the guy, he was going out and baiting them. And he went out and did a whole bait thing, and a big giant buck came up and was over there eating the bait. And so he ran, got his rifle, goes running out there, and the buck stopped what it was doing, looked up at him and made eye contact with him. And the guy sat down his thing and was like, it was done. I was never gonna hunt again. And it's something simple. It's a soul thing. So you don't need to try and rush or push or this is what I got to do. Well, this person said I got to do this. Well, if I don't go walk in nature every day, I'm not a good spiritual. If I don't do, take time to yourself. I think that's important, but don't be hard on yourself about it. Some people maybe only have 5 minutes. If you're a mom and you got kids, you got a demanding husband, and especially right now while everything is chaos, don't be hard on yourself or think, well, I'm not spiritual. I'm not putting enough time into it. The awareness is all you need. The awareness that you have a spirit, and your spirit will just start speaking to you, through every little episode, every little situation that will happen. Your spirit will give you insight, so you don't have to force it. And yeah, it's going to bring up things at times that you don't want to hear. It's going to ask you questions that you're not going to want to think about. And that is not the time to go distract yourself. Get on a phone call because that person's always got drama. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to call somebody and tell them to bring over a 6-pack. No, feel your feelings. Get used to feeling you. Get used to who you are. Understand your feelings. Feel them. Don't shame them, and experience them. Experience you. That is the expansion, is you figuring out who you are. And you're not your pain. You're not your suffering. That's why you got to let it go. That's why you got to get down to it and see, like, why am I holding on to this? And it's a part of your programming. It's nothing to feel bad about or feel like you're doing something wrong. This is a great opportunity in existence for you to understand yourself and to expand. And that is this, I mean, we weren't all born monks over there, in the Himalayas or something. Like, we are born all over the place, and we still get this opportunity to connect to ourselves and find ourselves. And yeah, the system is a big distraction. It's going to hold you through jobs and stuff. That's what it was there for. And the more that you can let go of that reality, and the more you can see, like, well, I don't have to have a big house. I don't have to have that. Like, all the things you thought you needed, that you thought were a part of you, that you thought were a part of living, is reevaluating what is real, what is important, what isn't real, what isn't important. And so you can understand for yourself. And it isn't what, somebody else thinks. It's not what your mom thinks or Uncle Bob thinks or whoever. It's what do you think and what do you feel? And those are the voices that you've got to release, is what they think. Like, if I was just caught up in forever, what my mom thought about God, I go with what I think about God, and I feel like she's missing out on my God, a God about love and connection and guidance and stuff. She's stuck on a God that she's scared of, that you have to, but it is this Stockholm syndrome God. They're scared of him, but then they want to worship him. So it's very strange. But anyways, but every, all these different philosophies, all these different things are not for us to judge or try and change in others. Everyone's change comes from within. We're not meant to change anybody else. Nobody can change you, just like you can't change anybody else. The changes come from within. And but the role modeling is showing you doing the steps and growing. Then that is where other people can see that they can start living better. They can make changes. They can feel better. So it's an important role to step into your healing journey and claim your story. Don't hide from your story. Don't dismiss your story. Don't act like your story doesn't matter. I was thinking, because like there's weird things, like just like the voice thing, making these filters, like, so it was making me think, and this woman who's house sitting next door, her voice is like mine, but I'm pretty sure she's a smoker. And so I was like, oh, so it's really, people want that like smoky, crackly voice, voiceover kind of thing. And mine is from the acid scars on my voice box, whatever, but the I don't know, the sound or whatever. So that had me thinking about like how this artificial, people want to sound different than they sound and whatever. And one of the things too is another thing of mine is like how these people go and get these, I don't know if they're getting injections into their cheeks or what they're doing to give them these fake cheekbones. And it's a whole thing where people keep going and getting these fake cheekbones. And I was thinking, but you didn't go through the other part. You didn't go through the part of having all of the cheeks. Like, you had a skinny face growing up, and then you went and got these cheekbones implanted, but you didn't go through the experience of, being, I don't know, to me, I was always different looking. I didn't know, like, my grandpa was from Eastern Europe, and I looked more like that. Like, I didn't know that. I just thought I just looked weird. I looked different than the other kids. And I had these giant cheeks. And to me, like, I have more respect for my cheekbones or something, like there's a purpose. There's a purpose to our faces. There's a purpose to this artificial changing our faces. Like, like I know there's tons and tons of girls, they get a nose that they hate. They want to change their nose. And a lot of girls go change their noses. But there's a reason you had that nose. you know, and it is a part of your growing, your learning, your connection, you know, whatever it is. You know, just like me, there was a reason I had those big old cheeks. And to me, this is a sign of, you know, this face that I had from when I was a child, that it was a hard face for me to come to terms with. And then these women who just go in and pay and get cheekbones implanted. I don't know. There's just something. There's just things that are just so off in our society, you know, of understanding, you know, what we're going through is a part of our growth. Our being is representing a part of what we need to grow and stuff. So I don't know. There's more to all of this stuff. And there's more, you know, when they're putting these filters, a filter that's really got everybody's panties in a bunch is they put out this aging filter. If I go on it, I look like I'm like fucking 90 or something. And I think a lot of these people who are going on it, they're young and they're looking at themselves thinking that, you know, that's going to be what I'm going to look like in my 40s or 50s or 60s. It's like, I mean, everybody ages differently, but just because you're 60 doesn't automatically mean you're going to look like you're 90. Like, I mean, I saw people who looks like they want to die. They want to die young now because they don't want to get old because they hate the way they're going to look. That's something for all of them to come to terms with. Like, I mean, there's no accident that these filters are coming out at these times to bring these emotions up in people. But, you know, I mean, one thing is there's not going to be even any aging. And these people don't realize that because they need to go through this other part to come to terms with life and the superficial, the shallow, like life's not worth living if you're not young and beautiful. Like, most of your life, you're spending it being old. So there's a big purpose. And, you know, but these people, it's very shallow and superficial to be on that level. But you know, we're going into this part where we're going to have these med beds where we're not even going to age anyways. We're going to go backwards. So we're not going to be looking old and haggard and stuff. We're going to have, our cells are going to be at their, you know, primo level. So, but it is a part of the thing, but it is shocking when you see, and this one lady, she cracks me up. I did wash my hair last night with the vinegar. I am not keen on the vinegar rinse. It does not go good with my hair. I don't know. I got to figure out something else. Maybe just stick with the essential oils. But while it's so sweaty and hot, it's hard to not want to, and dusty. Like, it's so dusty here, no rain. It's reminding me of last summer. And there's pine needles everywhere. And I keep looking up, and I think they're just coming off of the trees that are already dead. Because there's still so much lush and green around. So I don't know. It's like, and last night too, the sky. Fuck, dude. That fucking yesterday morning, the sky. Like, what the fuck? When I go out to walk her the first time, there was just a completely blue sky with just these white swirls everywhere. I was like, well, that's some fake ass shit. And then last night when we went out to walk, there was a complete separation where I could not stop looking. I was like, there is no way that there could be a line like that unless there's a mothership above us that is the fucking size of my neighborhood. Like, it was so weird. How in the hell is there a line, a silver line? Like, I don't know. Like, I fucking don't know. Like, what in the holy hell? But fuck, shit is weird, man. And there's this weird sound outside too that I don't even know how to explain it. It is kind of like, I keep feeling like it is some sort of animals or something. And I keep being like, is this some sort of weird forest? Fucking God, what in the hell is going on? And there keeps being such weird shit, man. I don't know. The sky is weird as fuck. And it was such a huge, big, dark shadow up there. Like, you could see. I can't think of anything else it could be but a mothership. But it was fucking low. Where I was like, okay, so this thing, if we think Nibiru is a planet, but really it's a fucking giant ass ship. Like, man, I don't know. There's a lot for us to get to see, you know, and realize, you know, I've jumped all over the place. Let me think. Okay. So well, maybe I finished everything I was supposed to say. I can't think of, was it something with the food? Which the whole thing with food is weird too. Food is really weird. Because when you realize you're a fucking hologram, you don't need it. But then your body hasn't totally caught up and keeps telling you you need it. It's weird. And then you still have the part of you who enjoys to eat, who enjoys food. Like this whole thing is such a transformation of changing, you know. Because there is a part to, you know, a light being, you know, if we're going into our understanding, because this is, to me, this is something that I think is just important. You know, I don't know, you know, I could be completely reading this wrong or understanding it wrong. And, you know, there's always a thing of where you don't understand, things can change. Like you can understand something in a certain way and then it like expands and then you'll understand it more. And so, this whole thing of us becoming in tune to ourselves, to understand we're not these bodies, to understand we are what's inside the body. That's the live part, the living part of us. And that part of us can't be injured or hurt. And so to me, it is us becoming that understanding. Because whatever this cataclysmic event, whatever is going to happen on the planet, I think there's something about that. Like, we have to have that awareness. We have to understand. Like, because I think in all physical reality, it's going to seem like we would die. So I think that it is us who understand that we can't die, so we remain. And I think that is, I swear, I don't know for sure, but I think in all senses of things, put up a block, in all senses of things, I think of what we think of as being death or dying. I think that is kind of what it is, realizing that death and dying isn't real, so that when this is happening, that we don't, we know we won't really die. But I could be understanding it completely wrong. It could be because they've also showed me so much about, you know, we wouldn't even notice. Like, you'd just be driving and, you know, something would happen and you wouldn't be able to tell that you were a light body, different. Just like when I came out of my body that time. God, this is driving me crazy. What time is it? 7:30 is when it gets like this. So when it is, no matter what, it's just gonna look weird. So when the expansion, what was I gonna say? So the light body thing, it's funny, I'm battling this light right now. I'm talking about the light body. So when I had come out of my body that time, and I could not even tell at all. I felt exactly the same. You know, nothing gave me the idea that I was out of my body. But that, you know, I feel like so lucky to have had that experience, because it gave me such a very clear understanding that my body is, you know, it's not my brain thinking. It's not my, I feel like I look like a ghost right now. It's not my brain thinking and stuff. It is, it's something different than that. And this is like the battle every fucking morning of the light as it comes in. It's like there's got to be some place like that thing could go. Anyways, I'm just going to finish because it's driving me crazy. But I don't know. But if we are going to become our light bodies, our part of us that's alive, not this other avatar body thing, that that is your real part of you. Man, I feel like this light thing is really making my hair look really, really weird. So anyways, the light part of you is the living part of you. And that part of you, it doesn't matter if this part isn't there. And I looked the same. I didn't feel like I looked any different. And I still feel like I looked in the mirror, because I get that image all the time of me looking in the mirror and seeing myself. So I just feel, like it's kind of like coming to term. Man, I keep getting these weird fucking flashes all the goddamn time too, that pulls me back to this period of time where, I don't know, like I was going through that whole thing where it kept being all this stuff from like grade school, and like weird smells, weird things. Like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Is it like replaying something inside of me or something? Because now I'm up in this like teenage time or something. Weird things too, like smells or a situation that I don't even remember. And all of a sudden it'll be like, why is this coming back to me? Like, what in the hell is going on? Like, it can be like an instant of driving in a car when I was 16 and going past this building and what it smelled like weird shit. Like, I do not know what the hell. Like, but, I'm not going to lose my grip on reality. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm just going with it. It's weird, though. It's really weird. And this period of time that I'm stuck in right now is weirdness. There's so much weirdness, and if it's something that I need to see, then, they need to make it more clear, because I definitely do not know what in the hell, why I keep getting these visions or something. And the whole thing where you can smell the smells, and weird smells, like really weird smells. Anyways, that is weird. But so, like, if we are going into our light bodies, our, this other part of us, there's nothing to be scared of about it. Like, because death isn't real. We can't die. So it's just, it's an expansion. But I don't know. That is something that just keeps showing me, like, that is why we really got to understand our soul, our spirit, who we are at our core. That there's a whole purpose to it. It's not just, because you have an opportunity to become enlightened. Like, there's more to it. Like, there's a purpose to connect to who you are through this expansion, because you're about to become who you are. Like I don't know if that is making sense how I'm explaining it, but like I said, anything that I say, just ask your guides to explain it further. If it sounds weird or whatever, just keep asking your guides. And even if you feel like you're not getting what you want, you want to hear more or whatever, and you think like, oh, well, she gets to have him talk to her all the time. Don't forget, this is something I've been developing since I was, I think, 3, well, maybe since I was 1, since they keep showing me that time. But this has been under development for a long time. Like, you can get the same thing. You can talk to yours just as easy. It is only thing I think that interferes is the noise in your head. It is, like I said, you have towards the front, the loudest is like the voices of the people who you replay. It is like where I always think of it as like spinning out on your thoughts. And so to me, that's like the loudest part. And then the middle is all of the it's like attachments and ego and stuff. And so there's a lot of loudness, and that's where you got to use a lot of discernment to really be like, okay, is that good or is that bad? How do I feel about this? Like, because there's no good or bad. And this is where you'll come to that resolve, is being able to balance it out for yourself, you know, to figure it out for yourself. But that, then, then when you get to back here, because it's back here is where, to me, is where you hear the whisper. It's like at the back of the room. It's like on the Starship Enterprise, and you have, you know, the team, the loudest, you know, giving commands or whatever. And then you have all of these, you know, like the whole big group, you know, all of that noise that you have to, you know, decipher through. And then you have the voices of logic, but they're in the back of the room. You have to get through all of the noise to find the logic in the rear. Sometimes the rear of the back of the room. So you got to find that, you know, you got to find that logic. That is the quiet. That is another level. And, but, you know, each person has to find it for themselves. But that is, to me, how it kind of works. So when you're using but they also, you know, they'll use pictures and all sorts of stuff to communicate. So if you're frustrated with your communication, just, you know, keep asking questions. Always be asking questions. You know, and then if you ask a question and you get an answer, and that is an opportunity to go through and use your discernment and see, and that will help you recognize, where is that coming from? Is that like my ego is giving me something? Is it the attachments that are, you know, on me that are trying to just, you know, survive? They become like a part of people, like a barnacles on a ship. You know, they become so intertwined with your thoughts that you don't recognize that it is a separate thing from you. But you can separate. You can separate from these strong emotions, depression and anxiety, and all the energy that feeds that. You can separate from that, but it's a process. But you got to have that awareness. So you got to have that discernment. So you got to use your conversation so that you can begin to understand, you know, who's talking in there, what are they talking about, and you begin to manage the conversation, get control of the ship. So anyways, those to me, and that isn't because something's wrong with you or you're broken. It is because you are advancing. You're not just, you know, sitting and wetting your diapers anymore. Now you understand you can go in and take the diaper off. So it's a change and an expansion, an evolution of oneself. So to me, it's not like you're broken. You're a broken soul, and you're, you know, it's not about that. It is about evolving, though, and becoming more. And it's obviously, you know, necessary, because you can see what's going on around you. And you can see how, you know, people are struggling. People are disconnected. And there's a whole other thing, too. Because it was just something I was seeing. Oh, yeah, because that's a thing on Hulu, too. Something called a Madison... what was it? It was too popular. Emma Madison or something. I don't know. Emily Madison. I don't know. Some thing they started on social media so that people who were married who wanted to cheat could go on this dating website to hook up with people. And there's a thing about it on Hulu. And they were talking about back then, which was like 2007 or something, that there wasn't very many people on social media. And anyways, it just made me start thinking about, like, they drew us in. They took it, like, you just think about how all this went down. and how they got people to be so on their phones and social media, and how they drew them in and stuff. And then how, like, the next generation just believes that's always the way it was. But pay attention to how they really move us through society. The dog wagging the tail. Because they're doing it right in front of us. I mean, if you're paying attention, you can see. But some people get so caught up in it. And that, you know, you got to stay detached. You got to get yourself into observation. That is also part of the soul's growth, is getting yourself into a place of observation, not getting so caught up in every little thing. And because, you know, why would you get caught up in every little thing? It's not real. You're in a game. Like, it's like playing Monopoly. You know, some people get super serious about it. But you got to be, you know, keep it in perspective. You're in a game. So don't get too caught up, too serious about it. Otherwise, it loses the fun. So anyways, but that is a part of reaching that point of observation, of detachment. You're not as caught up in the game. You can see it for what it is. So anyways, I'm going to get going and stop talking. Something is going to drive me crazy. I don't even know what I'm going to do today. Like, it just feels like, man, I don't know. Go out for another walk. I feel like it's just poisoning all the time. This fucking one arm is so swollen. I don't know what the hell I did to it. Well, I know what I did to it. I fell on it and I jacked it off. God. Jacked it up. I don't know. Sometimes you just say things like, I guess. But then adding in, moving all that wood, driving, it's really screaming out at me to, like, oh, fuck you, Kelly. Don't forget about me. I'm in pain here. So it's just like, and I got to use it to go out and even walk. But to go, like, going and doing something, I don't know, maybe we'll go to the lake or something. No, I don't want to go when it's all these people. I'll go tomorrow or something. I don't know. It just seems like, I don't know, so it's boring. Like Groundhog Day, every day to try and make the day be something. Like, I really like the projects, but right now, like, even if I had a project, I couldn't really do it. This money thing, though, has got to be going. What was it? I saw something else where somebody was saying something. I mean, right now, like this whole thing with Kamala, like, this has got to be the takedown of Kamala and Joe, and there's just all the absurdity and the money thing. And the fact that there's still people with the TDS, it's like, come on, people. Like, how many things does he have to be arrested for when they just say, oh, well, we made it up, or just big fat liars. But this guy over here, he did that. Like, how many times does that have to happen? Like, I cannot believe that there is people on TikTok who are out there, all you Trump people with your cognitive dissonance, why can't you? Why? What? What are we supposed to see? You need to see. Like, you got to quit. Like, the liberal propaganda, like, whatever, you know, and I think theirs is a lot more, like, I don't know, even the conservatives. Like, all I knew about was Fox. But I guess, I don't know, I think the Guardian, the Rebel, like, I don't fucking know all their little propaganda papers. But the fucking liberal ones have a lot. Huffington Post, the BuzzFeed, like, all of their little fucking snappy ass shit is always directing them to see things the way they want them to see it. But the people don't ever stop and look at, like, what's going on in the real world out here. They just constantly are talking where it's like, are you even in the same world? Like, what are you talking about? Like, could you please show us the reference of where you get your information? Because I think you're being lied to. It's weird. So, man, we still have all of that shit. All those people, like, just, it's crazy when you see how far people are still and how stuck they are. So, ugh. Sometimes it just feels like so, like, oh, it's just going to go on and on and on. and drag and drag and drag. Like, it is a lot just to keep yourself motivated, just to want to get up and do anything. Is it just the Groundhog Days, like grinding halt of, ugh. So, anyways, I don't know what I'm going to do today. I would start with my crocheting, except my wrist. So, and obviously when you get some kind of things, you gotta listen to your body. If my ankle, my foot, and my hand, to me, both of them get injured days apart, then the universe is telling me, okay, we want you to sit down and rest. Stop doing shit. Maybe I'm distracting myself or something. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to tell me something and I'm not taking the time to sit and listen. But anyways, that's what I'm going to do today. Is yesterday I did a lot of, but I couldn't stay awake. Kept falling asleep and falling asleep. I feel really tired still. And I slept till 5:30. And when did I go to bed? Like 9:30 to 5:30. And then I feel like I could just sleep more. But maybe it is that they're like, you know, putting me to sleep so that I'm working shit out in dreams. I don't know. Like, just whatever is going for you, just go with it. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong or you need to change something. Go with the flow of, you know, like, I think if I went out and tried to do something else and was not listening to my body needing to rest or heal, I'd get another injury. It would be something else that I would get hurt. And it would get more and more serious as it went on, because that's what they do when they want you to stop it or go in a different direction. So I don't know. I guess today I'll just reevaluate. What is my direction? Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they hurry up and show me, because I'm ready. I'm sick of this sitting around here. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.